Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, no, you can't just say that's
they
the
let
thing.
it happen.
No, that
Yes,
totally contradicts the entire narrative.
This,
I think that's a totally valid excuse when you're 15.
I'm not
but
talking,
if you're the
I'm not
president
talking
of the United
about.
States, what is like the hope?
No.
What are we hoping that would happen?
What I was hoping what would happen was the economy would continue to build in a better way. Not that we would
continue.
Because
it
was building.
Yeah, under
Yes.
Biden.
Yes, it was. I agree with that.
So why wouldn't we choose a guy that was building it?
Yeah, so thanks a lot for Travis, right? That's his name, Travis, for flying me out, man. Good to see. The audience is great here. So Destiny, yeah, thanks guys. Here. So Destiny, I wanted to ask you this, man. You've stated in the past that I guess that the MAGA right is notorious for violence. You've said this. You've called them degenerates, etc. That Trump kind of insinuates a lot of the rhetoric and the actions of Trump supporters. Am I more or less correct on that?
I don't usually criticize them for violence. I think I think the tendency, I mean, especially since the BLM stuff, there's more, at least cumulatively, violence for left-leaning people. But I would also kind of expect that right now, given the state of affairs. So.
Oh, okay. So, wait, when you say that you expect the violence from the left on the state of affairs,
as in, like, if you have like a certain system where people feel like somebody is completely and totally out of line, and that person is using the power of the executive to be totally out of line, well, like, what would conservatives even enact violence about? They would have nothing to protest. They'd have nothing to riot over. I imagine it would be probably more left-leaning people that would be rioting.
That would be rioting? Yeah. So, like, for example, like the Tesla burnings that were happening, it was all premeditated. They had the Doge, DogeChase.com or something like that kind of premeditated all that. So, like, my thing is that when I look at the Trump election and how he got elected, and maybe I can ask you this. I think one of the reasons that Trump got elected in the first place was because when you say, like, for example, with your other opponent here, when you say the MAGA right is a cult, I'm thinking in my head that the Democratic Party at this point is actually a cult as well, you know, regardless of what it is. Now,
who's our cult leader?
Oh, well, here's the thing. I don't know who the cult leader is, but it's the Democratic
kind of
Party as a whole, right? No, well, here's the thing. It could be a cult without it because, like, for example, vote blue no matter who. You've heard that phrase, right? The anti-Trump tour, like we're on right now. It's a cult that's against Trump no matter what, right? So we've seen this to where Elon Musk at one point had the Tesla vehicles that a lot of left-wing people were buying. Then, of course, Elon Musk wasn't necessarily supporting Trump at first. He was a Ron DeSantis guy, etc. Then he turned to Trump. Then we saw that after he supported Trump and he donated it to him, we saw a lot of the left wing kind of burn down Teslas and be violent about this, right?
Well, I don't really think that was the only thing he did. I think it was also the fact that he joined Trump as an unelected bureaucrat and began unilaterally shuttering federally approved agencies in the government while, like, engaged in the most insane over-the-top rhetoric on X.
What's the most insane over-the-top
Like
rhetoric?
constantly calling for judges to be impeached or imprisoned, or saying that...
Which judges? I'm not too sure.
The recent judge that just made a ruling related to... basically anytime a new TRO gets issued, I think that he's done it for the Zini lawyer. I think he's done it for Brasberg. But he tweets about judges
so
all the time.
He wanted to get them removed because
he doesn't like it when they issue a TRO against Trump. But wait, just real quick, you're not familiar with Elon engaging in any like anti-judicial rhetoric on X?
Like, I know Elon Musk has stated that he doesn't like these individuals, which is fair enough. He has his opinion, right?
But it's not just his opinion, right? He's like the richest man in the world, who's the right-hand man of the president.
Yeah, sure, but you have an opinion too. Like, for
I'm
example,
not an elected official. I don't work in government.
Well, you have a huge influence when it comes to your audience, right?
Yeah, but I don't work in government.
Yeah, but what does that matter? Like, here's the thing.
Well, if I was part of the government and I was calling for another part of the government to be destroyed, I think that would be really scary.
Yeah, but I would make an argument that influencers and even actors, etc., actually have more influence on the public than even politicians.
Than most politicians is probably true.
Yeah, that's
but
why.
Donald Trump, because he's a cult leader, probably not.
But even with you, I think you have more influence than on the public than most politicians.
Individual, yeah, that's probably true.
Probably true. That's what I'm
saying.
Most
for sure, especially city council.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when you say, "Well, I don't work in government," at the same time, I could say, "Yeah, but you have more influence on the public than most politicians," right?
No, I agree. I was just pointing out why people would probably have such a visceral reaction to everything Elon Musk has done. I think it's super warranted that people would feel horrified by it.
Right. No, yeah, for sure. Okay, I get you there. But I wanted to shoot this back here. When you were stating that, when I was stating that one reason that I think that Donald Trump specifically won this election was also because I think that the left, like you admitted earlier, is notorious for violence, right? We had the BLM riots, the Chaz that happened, right, in Seattle. the Tesla burnings. So I think a lot of the people that voted for Trump was also noticing that the left is absolutely lunatics when it comes to this type of rhetoric. And Maxine Waters, even in 2016, when she was, when Trump won his first term, where she was saying, get in the face of MAGA supporters. When I was, because I'm from South Texas, I would wear a MAGA hat at a bar, and I was getting attacked by people that didn't like that. You know, I think this is what drove a lot of people towards Donald Trump to vote for him, wouldn't you say?
I mean, it's possible.
Don't you think it's kind of a big deal, though?
No, because I think that they don't talk about any of the violence that their side is ever supporting, either explicit or implicitly, at all points in time as well. So, how am I supposed to feel bad that people are complaining about Tesla dealerships being burned down, but then they're clapping when people are being deported without due process from this country? I have absolutely no sympathy. And the fact that they can keep doing this hand-wringing of like, the left is so bad and they won't disavow these people, even though the left has to disavow its own side all the time. When Biden...
I don't see any of the left doing that, though.
I don't know how much you're looking at.
Well, I watch your show.
Okay, well,
like,
Biden
for example,
literally...
you didn't even disavow the assassination of Donald Trump, bro.
I wish. It was the assassination attempt, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Hey, but am I right there, Destiny? Come on, man. Come on, man.
Just jokes. So you can have a standard for my behavior. You can talk about whether my behavior is over the line or not. But right. I think it's very different when you compare the behavior of somebody in government versus me, who's like a
but
pundit.
Also, you're a guy that has more influence than politicians. That's my point.
Yeah, but it's a different type of
influence. The vast majority.
It's a different type of influence, though, right?
What's the difference? Tell me.
There's a different expectation for behavior for things that that I would have versus somebody who's part of the government. Would you agree, or do you think it's the same?
I would agree that your influence would actually affect people's behavior more so than some random person.
No, it's not. It's about the expectation of like behavior or what would be proper. So if I was an elected official and I was working in the executive branch, it means something a lot different for me to say I hate this judge than if I was just like a pundit and I was like I hate this judge. I think
right.
Those are so you can have a totally different standard expectation of behavior regardless of how many people you influence or not, just based on the role that you occupy. Yeah.
Well, I get you there, but like my point is that I think you have way more influence than the vast majority of politicians. So that's why I'm saying like when you shoot the rhetoric when Corey, fucking don't even remember the guy's last name, Corey something, I don't know, but he passed away and you were stating something and you doubled down on Pierce Morgan. You said, fuck Corey, fuck his supporters, etc. I think also with your rhetoric, when you were stating that stuff, I think that leaned a lot of people watching that sit and said, Destiny's a fucking psychopath. I don't want to vote for Kamala Harris or the Democratic Party.
Yeah, but
like,
at some point, it like, I don't want to change the diaper of a 25-year-old. Like, for somebody to go online and to be making like all of these jokes, as Dave Rubin had, and he was on that episode with me, about the guy the psychotic dude, that broke into Pelosi's house and was like with a hammer was smacking this.
They called Trump voters a cult. True, but what do you call a side that defends censorship, media collapse, and unelected billionaires calling the shots? These people aren't protecting democracy. They're trying to smother it while the cameras are still rolling. Left, right, blue, red, it doesn't matter. The system is broken. And no matter how you vote, if you question their plan, you're the threat. We don't clip for clicks, we clip for collapse. This is Aftershow Carnage. Subscribe if you're done getting gaslit by everyone.
The next clip is ready below. Welcome to Aftershow Carnage.